Welcome back to the Valley Combat and Tactical YouTube channel. In our last episode we did a full disassembly and reassembly of the Tippmann A5, and now we are going to do a full disassembly of the power tube and the valve. The valve itself is the guts of the gun and makes the gun go boom. Power tube is plastic, the valve is metal. There's a velocity screw on the side. Quite often, a good whack on the bottom will send these guys, let the valve come out. Look at that, I got it. Right to the edge, not quite. Flat blade screwdriver can just go in and help it convincingly come out. Don't push hard, just a little bit. You don't want to scratch anything or score anything. Just get that. Once it's past the O-ring, all the resistance is gone. See how it comes out there? See that? Velocity screw, power tube. Quite often if you've got a leak in your gun, it can be caused by a crack in the power tube. I haven't seen it often. More often than not, in your valve itself, if your gun is leaking air constantly through the barrel, there's an O-ring at the very bottom of this valve that pops out through the edge. It just gets caught, something happens, it pops, you need a new one. Very, very easy to get to. I've never seen this one be the cause of the leak. What we're going to do now is take apart the valve. It's quite simple. If you push with pressure on the pin on the end, all the stuff should come out. Unless it really is in there good. Don't know when the last time this one was taken apart. We're going to use an O-ring pick just to start it out then. Just gently remove this black guy here. Ta-da! And then your spring, your pin. Now inside is a brass fitting and one more O-ring. That O-ring is the one that quite often is the reason. One brass fitting. And one O-ring. That is your valve assembly. Very, very high, highly confusing. Very kind of tired. Could use some caffeine. Okay, so I did this the other day. I filmed it all out of frame, so I've already lubed up these O-rings. All it needs is a little bit of oil or a little bit of slick lube kind of thing. Easiest way to reassemble this is you take the O-ring, you place it on the brass fitting. The brass fitting has two sides. One side has a guide, one side doesn't. The guide holds the O-ring goes in first. It's very easy to get it to go if you use the pin to push it. Then you put the spring on the pin. Ta-da! Now you've got an O-ring and a washer left. The most common mistake is people put the O-ring in and then put the washer on. Does not work, will not work. That's not how it goes. The washer goes in first, then the O-ring. Now to get the O-ring to seat properly in the area, I use a flat blade screwdriver and literally just very gently squash it into place. Of course, you're watching me, so having a little. You have to make sure the very bottom O-ring is seated first, otherwise it won't fit. See that? Smooth like silk, like butter. That's your valve. Pretty simple. So there is an O-ring on the outside edge, one on the inside, and one here. Depending on where the leak is coming from on your gun, quite often one of those three can be the reason, or the power tube itself. Now, when you're reassembling it, it can go in any way you don't want it to. This little area here is where the tombstone normally sits. So you want that tombstone accessibility to line up with the hole in the power tube. Like so. That's it. That's all she wrote. Goes together. Thanks for tuning in. Leave us any comments and we'll review some more stuff soon. Thanks.